So I'll put it up on the screen. We begin with the Boston Celtics, and you're getting a peek behind the curtain with all my typos or misspellings. Their notable moves. They traded Daniel Tice, who has 2 years and $17.8 million guaranteed left on his deal, plus a third-year team option. They traded him, Aaron Nesmith, Malik Fitz, Nick Stauskas, and Jawan Morgan, and a 2023 first-rounder, top 12 protected, to the Pacers for Malcolm Brogdon, a move that was met with almost universal approval. They signed Danilo Gallinari to a 2-year, $13.3 million deal, the full mini MLE. He has a player option on that second season. They signed Luke Cornett, the real unicorn, to a 2-year, $4.6 million deal. $1 million guarantees on opening night, fully guarantees on July 10th. The second year is non-guaranteed. They signed Sam Hauser to a 3-year, $5.7 million deal, team option on that final season. And they signed J.D. Davidson to a 2-way contract, and they signed Fiondu Kabengele to a 2-way contract. No notable exits aside from the trades that we mentioned. And if you care, Malik Fitz and Nick Stauskas and Jawan Morgan were in fact waived by the Pacers. So, Grant, what grade did you give the Celtics?
This is an A for me. As I try to think of, what am I overlooking, or what, it's just like not that complicated to me, because the way I frame Boston's offseason is they added Brogdon and Gallinari, and really the only thing of consequence that, in terms of, if we assume this is again a finals contender, which I think that's safe to say, the only thing they gave up that really matters or was going to factor into that at all is Daniel Tice. Like, that 23 first rounder, I don't feel like is super valuable. It's not going to be a high pick. So getting 2 rotation guys, particularly getting another playmaking guard that will help keep the ball moving in Brogdon, getting some more shooting in Gallinari. I don't know how nuanced or how deep you want to go on this, but like, it's just 2 rotation guys that could definitely start for you in a pinch in the event of injuries. And guys that I can envision being part of the rotation in a finals series. So having gotten those 2 guys and not really given up a ton, downside risks are there. But with Brogdon's health and Gallinari's defense, but it's pretty hard for me to really nitpick here, because Boston was really good and improved without sacrificing anything that I view as significant.
Yeah, I think so. What did you end up giving them?
It's just a flat A.
Yeah, I gave them a flat A as well. I don't know what there's not to like about their offseason, unless you think that Aaron Nesmith was going to blossom into a star somehow. And I just, even if you did think that, were they really going to pay everybody? If you thought like Langford dating back to the Derek White trade was going to pan out. And the 2023 first is just, even if they regress from how they finished towards the end of last season, that's just not like a huge opportunity cost to give up. If Malcolm Brogdon stays healthy, that money is not unreasonable. But I get it from the Pacers perspective of, let's just, we have Halliburton, we have Duarte, we have Benedict Mathurin. Let's get rid of Brogdon, get off that long-term money and pick up a first-round pick in the process. That's a deal that makes sense for both sides. And I do think between Brogdon and Danilo Gallinari, I don't know if they address a lot of what sort of ailed them offensively in the NBA Finals. But like, when Gallo's healthy, I know he's slower, but he can get to the foul line and create and hit some tough jumpers, more so than Malcolm Brogdon can. And I think that could really matter for them. And just, I like the fact that they were willing to use the mini MLE. This wasn't a team that shot, and they shouldn't have, just because they made the freaking NBA Finals. I honestly don't know what you wouldn't like about this offseason, unless you didn't think that they should have gone after Brogdon. I did wonder, after the Kevin Durant trade demand came down and you look at the Brogdon deal, was it almost in anticipation of, would they dangle Jaylen Brown plus Marcus Smart or Derek White and other stuff for Kevin Durant? And we've since heard that they have done that. Jaylen Brown and Derek White, and I think one first-round pick is what Shams reported. What do you make of all that? Not trying to factor in like, how does their offseason grade change if they had Kevin Durant, but just in general, would that, like, do you like that idea for their team, or do you think it's sort of too much of a consolidation for a team that was so close already?
Like, it depends on what day you catch me on, what my feelings are about, should this team go for Durant and pay what it's going to cost. I do think maybe, like, I could see how the Brogdon move could have been sort of as part of an anticipatory plan that Durant's coming, but I wonder if just having that extra first round pick to move would have mattered more. It just in getting him, let alone like, leaving aside the fit and how things might work once he's on the roster. I just think some of these packages now, we're recording this on Monday. that you're seeing that just isn't enough for Brooklyn. You're seeing things with like 5 first rounders and they, the old line still is out there. They want an all-star player, another really good player, a bunch of picks. Increasingly, I'm taking the stance that, like, just to use Boston because that's the team we're talking about. I don't think I want to pay what it's going to cost to get Durant, and like I don't think I want to pay anything close to it. Yeah, maybe he puts them over the top, but maybe he's 34, and maybe, like, guess what? He might not be happy there, and that might not go great. He's going to miss games, and Boston's a special case because they had so much success last year and figure to improve just based on the youth of the roster and guys getting into real prime years. But just more generally, I'm getting cooler and cooler on wanting Durant for what it seems like it's going to cost on it just anywhere.
I think I'm kind of with you, and it changes unless, like, if the Nets lower their asking price or decide that, okay, we're going to rebuild. And so they're not trying to get an all-star and picks. They're willing to accept that picks package. For Boston specifically, though, like, I don't like it in general. Like, if the cost just becomes Jaylen Brown and then another salary straight up, I don't know that Kevin Durant, yes, I would say he elevates your window compared to Jaylen Brown just because of what he does offensively, but for how long? And I know that title windows can be gone in a flash. And Boston, with the Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum core specifically, feels like it's had 2 or 3 different title windows already. Mm-hmm. Unless Jaylen Brown has indicated, because we know he's not going to extend, since that number is just not going to get him anywhere near his max off 120%. Unless he's communicated that he doesn't want to be there, I find it, if I'm Boston, hard to make this deal. And I honestly, like, especially if you're throwing other stuff on top of that, and it's not just other stuff, right, because like the next salary you send out is going to be a good player. Like, there's no just bad contract on this team right now.
Yeah, I think Boston, we both gave them an A for what they did. So I think inherent in that is I think we'd both like to see what this team looks like for a full year. Like, so that just from that perspective too, like, let's not just go superstar hunting and hope that it works. I think they've planned deliberately, made a lot of smart moves, big and small. And, like, I just want to see this Boston roster, this newly, deeper Boston roster, get toward, at least conference finals, and then maybe back to the finals and see what they can do.
Very quickly, though, if they made the trade, let's say it's Derek White, Jaylen Brown, and 1 first-round pick, would that higher or lower your offseason grade, or leave it lateral?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know if it would change it, honestly, which is weird. But, like, for that package, I don't know. I'd have to really think about it some more. I don't think it would change it significantly. It might go down, honestly, because if I say it's going up, I'm arguing against myself, just having said I kind of like this Boston roster and I want to see what it does.
Yeah, I think I would leave it the same, just because you are probably a better team for next season and maybe the one after, but the combustibility factor feels it's Kevin Durant. Right. It's just, man, that's just, Jaylen Brown is so good, so young, and it does feel like you're inherently shortening your window.
So I think let's just continue using a mixed house analogies. I think your ceiling's higher, but your window is narrower, and your floor is lower. So we're really messing with this house.
But yeah, I think straight A's for Boston. That was an easy one.